Welcome to the Red Hot Reds podcast presented by Ohio Sports Talk. I'm Roger. That's Ricky. It's that time of the week, and we have a special guest, a guy that's in the Cincinnati media universe and has something that we, really admire. But before we get into that, Ricky, we have Doug and Jordan. We thank them a lot all the time for their giving us this platform, being able to broadcast on their channels. We also would like you to subscribe, share on X, Facebook, YouTube, all those good places. We are a podcast. We're also on Spotify and Apple Podcasts. So please check us out there. We're real appreciative of all the support we've gotten so far, and we hope to continue to grow and keep bringing you content throughout the 2025 season. But today we've got that special guest, like I was saying, and a guy from Chatterbox Sports, a guy that worked at 700 WLW and 1530 ESPN. It is Mr. Zebra himself, Elliot Reiring. Ricky, you ready?
Let's go.
This is the Red Hot Reds podcast. Here are your hosts, Ricky Logan and Roger Straz.
Welcome to the Red Hot Reds podcast presented by Ohio Sports Talk. I'm Roger, that's Ricky, and it is that time of the week that we bring on a special guest from the Cincinnati Reds media community, a guy that we thoroughly enjoy from Chatterbox Sports and also all his posts on X that he's very famous for singing on X and singing after Reds wins and serenading his fans left and right. A guy that, has a lot of catchphrases that are very catchy that we'll get into that just permeate, I think, beyond just the Chatterbox community. I think he's a guy, a Cincinnati media star on the rise that we think, is going big places. So we're very grateful that he made time for us today. And the guest that we have here is the Zebra, Mr. Elliot Reiring.
Pump me up. Keep going. It's an honor to be here. It's an honor to be here with you fellas. How you guys doing?
We're doing well. We really appreciate it. And we understand that you're trying to possibly get to the Reds game. So we're going to try to get right into this as best as possible. We're really appreciative that you were willing to roll with the punches, what we're going to throw at you. And right off the bat, we have a thing that we like to call the scoreboard stumper. And we're going to try to test your Reds knowledge, baseball knowledge. Actually, this one's more broad than just Reds knowledge. So just to shout out our sponsor, this scoreboard stumper is presented by Dubby. Go to dubby.gg, put in the promo code RedHot10 to get 10% off your order. The scoreboard stumper, Ricky, if you're ready for that. Since 2000, 4 managers have led their team to 2 or more World Series wins. Who are they?
4 managers have led their team to 2 or more World Series wins. This is anybody. So Bruce Bochy's won.
Correct. Yes.
Bruce Bochy's won. Dusty didn't get. Dusty didn't get 2 with the Astros, did he?
No, Dusty only got the 1. And
all right, hold on. Dave Roberts, right?
Correct. Yeah, he just got a second one. I mean, if you count 2020, I guess.
Of course, COVID was real. That's one of the 4 Reds postseason appearances in the last 40 years. Let me see. All right, so I got 2.
Yeah.
Who am I missing here?
Might be a semi-obvious one.
I'm missing an obvious one?
Yeah, a guy that you talk about nearly every day on your show.
Terry.
Yeah, Tito.
I forgot about Terry. Okay, Terry. And when was the other guy from? When was the last guy's last World Series?
Think in division.
Yeah. This one probably is the hardest one.
In division.
He kind of had a rough ending to his managerial career.
Give it to me.
The St. Louis Cardinals legend, Tony La Russa.
Oh, my God. I wasn't even thinking of past managers.
Yeah. Well, yeah, 2000's a long time ago now. I can't believe we're at at that point where it's 25 years ago that, I don't want to put your complete birthday out there, but I think were you born in 2000?
1999. So we just missed it. We were right around there though.
Yeah, 1999 is a good year for Reds baseball.
Yeah, that's what they say. That listen, I'm just trying to get back to 1990. That's what I want.
Yeah.
If I was born in 1990, maybe things would have been a little bit better.
Yeah, funny you say that. Our podcast name is inspired by the 1990 Reds. Obviously, they have the Nasty Boys was a very popular nickname back then. But I don't know if you know about the music video that the Reds did in 1990 to combat drug use and to stay in school called the Red Hot Reds. Yeah,
really?
We'll have to send that to you. It's very 1990 if you know what I mean.
Okay.
Like
yeah,
I
Larkin
gotta
goes
see
hard.
that because that's why I didn't know that.
Yeah, it's not necessarily Super Bowl Shuffle esque, but it's in that vein of like very very interesting music choice. But anyway, that's besides the point. Elliot, we have you on here to talk about yourself a little bit, talk about your your career, and also a little bit about the current Red Legs. So the first question we have for you: what is your first baseball memory, or first Reds memory, or possibly your favorite Reds memory of all time?
I don't know if it's a first, but it's right around the time when I started really caring about the Reds. And I tell this story a lot because it is one of the more ingrained memories I have. I wasn't watching the game. I was driving, where my dad was driving me to baseball practice. And it was the opening day where Ramon Hernandez hit the walk-off home run. And we were on our way to practice, and the practice was like 25 minutes late because all the coaches and all the kids were just all in our cars listening to the game as it transpired. So that's probably, honestly, it's one of my favorite memories. I haven't had I'm not gonna bring my negativity onto your show, but I haven't had a ton of positive Reds moments in my lifetime. So that's certainly one. That's a top 5 moment for me. Probably started my love of baseball, if we're gonna be honest. That little car ride.
Yeah, that's fair. Yeah, there hasn't been much positivity, which is maybe why we chose the 1990 Red Hot Reds song as our theme to try to evoke some positive vibes and whatnot. But yeah, that's a good memory, man. At radio for sure.
That's one of my. It's still like, and we have this debate on the show a lot, but it's baseball and the radio. They go hand in hand so well, and like it's almost like when I'm watching the game, I'd rather everything just be. I know Apple allows you to do that feature, but I'd truly rather just like the radio broadcast be the broadcast we're hearing because it just sounds like baseball.
Yeah, I like being at the game, and like you go by like the TV booths or something, and it's always the radio. It sounds so much better. I like John Sadak a lot, but it just the radio just sounds so much better.
Yeah, and it's no knock against the TV broadcast. It's just something about it's something about like letting the audience in, having those quiet moments, not being able to, like, no disrespect to sponsorships everywhere, but when I'm watching a Reds game, I got 15 different sponsorships flashing in my eyes. I got the Lucky Buckeye talking at me. I got all kinds of things. It's like that's not baseball. It's listening to the radio. If they're gonna do a sponsor, if there's gonna do an ad read, it's gonna be Tommy. It's gonna be the Cowboy reading it. It just sounds better to me.
Yeah, I think I agree.
Yeah. So you went to Elder.
I did. Elder.
And you were all city in tennis.
Thank you.
Were you the big man on campus?
Thank you for bringing that up. Yeah, no, I would say I was not, but I'll tell you what. Being all city in tennis, it should give me there should be like a key to the city, and I should get it for winning that award. I wasn't the best tennis player in the world, but I'll tell you what, I represented the city of Cincinnati very well in an Elder Panthers jersey.
Nice. Were you more of a singles or a doubles guy? Doubles or partner?
Doubles is way more fun. If you want to do singles, and not to mention, I didn't really have at the time. I didn't have the power on my serve or anything like that to be a true singles player. Doubles is way better. You roll off your partner, and I had a hell of a partner. Shout out to my guy Danny Hurley.
Wait, what? Danny Danny Hurley?
Well, I don't know. Is there another Danny Hurley that? Oh no, actually, now that I said it out loud, that's unbelievable. That's the coach of UConn.
Yeah.
No, Dan Hurley is my buddy from Elder.
Just checking.
One of my favorite memories from the last couple of years about you on Chatterbox was in you and Trace did the tennis competition.
Oh yeah,
that was great.
I came out of retirement. I hadn't picked up a racket in years, and I was just acing that guy left and right, everywhere. Every single shot was an ace. Brilliance by me.
Yeah, they say class is permanent, form is temporary. You know.
That's right. That's right.
Yeah, and also you went to UC. You're a big UC fan. Just want to quickly touch on they were, you went to school, I think, probably during the Mick Cronin era, right? So what has happened?
I actually, you know what's crazy? I wasn't there during the Mick Cronin era. I missed it by a year. It was the last year at Toledo when I found out Mick Cronin wasn't coming back because I transferred. I started my college life at Toledo. Excuse me, at the University of Toledo, and once I came back is when John Brannon got here, and that's when things absolutely fell apart. It's been a disaster. They haven't been able to figure it out. I don't know if there's ever going to be an answer, really. Wes Miller, 4 years in, hasn't figured it out. John Brannon, in 2 years, certainly didn't figure it out. It's one of the greatest injustices is getting rid of Mick Cronin the way we did, because he was awesome. He wasn't appreciated. A couple of horrible losses he had, but I'll tell you what, Mick Cronin is a staple of this city, and I loved watching him.
Yeah, you think he'd ever come back? I think he was at UCLA most recently.
I think, unfortunately, that bridge was burned. I think the way it ended sounded pretty bad. So I think Mick wanted to maybe stay, and I think the higher ups at UC most certainly did not. So I think he might hold a little bit of a grudge, which is unfortunate because he had so many good memories. In fact, most of my good, happy Cincinnati sports memories are with UC. So that's a bummer.
Yeah, for sure. They definitely had some classic teams during his time, for sure.
Oh yeah.
You used to work at 700 WLW. How was that? Did you enjoy it, and would you ever consider doing radio again, or like what are your thoughts on it?
I loved it. It was fun. It was good. Radio hours are weird, so I will say that, unless you have the premier position there, it's my shifts would be like weekdays from 6 p.m. to midnight, and then on Saturday morning I'd work 4 a.m. to noon, and then sometimes have to come back that same day, and then there was Sunday I'd work 7 a.m. to 2. So they were very weird shifts, but getting my foot in the door, seeing what, I worked with Lance McAllister every weeknight that I worked there, and seeing how he operated was very, very cool. Being able to work for ESPN 1530 and seeing how Austin, Tony, and Mo do their shows, it was very, very cool. It's a very cool experience to see the minds behind sports talk, when you're driving to work or from home from school, and you're turning on the radio, and it's not white noise, but it's almost like it's a comfort thing. Like, you turn on the radio, it's like, oh, I'm going to hear my guys talk about sports, and being able to be behind the curtain on that was and be a part of it too. It's like being able to control some of what happens. It was very, very cool. Would I get back into it? I don't know, man. I think it would take a lot for me to do that full time now these days. Because here's the thing. Here's what I'll say about sports talk. I've been very lucky to work for Chatterbox, where it hasn't really come into play. But when you work for the radio, and it's like, oh, I'm going to work the Reds games, because I got to produce several Reds games. What you miss out is the Reds game, right? You don't get to go to the game, and you don't get to watch it at home and stuff like that. You're working it, right? You're working with Tommy and the Cowboy, and you're working with everybody there. So it's kind of a dual sword there when you work in sports talk, because oftentimes you're working when your favorite sports are being played, right? And you're missing some of that.
Did you ever pick any of their brains when you were around them?
I tried to be, no joke, I tried to be as funny as possible. That was my only goal. I was only trying to make them laugh. If I said anything of substance, it was like 1 word, 2 words, just to keep the train rolling for the broadcast. But I remember when the Cowboy I think he was talking about a commercial one time, and I just made him laugh. And it was the coolest feeling in the world.
Yeah, that's awesome. And yeah, speaking of Chatterbox, you kind of working on radio-ish now with Chatterbox, but we can talk about that more later. But how did you leave the radio? 1530, 700 WLW. How did you find Chatterbox, and how did you get to where you are right now?
I worked at iHeart Radio for about a year and a few months, maybe a year and a month. And there was a competition posted on Chatterbox's I don't know if it was their Indeed website or something along one of those job sites. And it was basically a competition. It was like, we're going to bring in like X amount of people and you guys are going to try to host a show. You're going to do like a test show, and whoever wins that show is going to get hired full time at Chatterbox. So I did it. I will come in for the interview. They brought a bunch of guys in for the interview. And I guess mine, not to brag, but I guess mine was more of a standout than anybody else's because I was the only one I don't think they even did that competition. I got it right there. So they, I guess, heard what I did at iHeart. And from there, I think Reed was the one who hired me. So Reed and Trace and Sean, and they got me in there.
So you weren't familiar with Chatterbox at all, or did you know the guys at all?
So I knew Chatterbox, and I remember seeing Reed on Twitter, and I remember laughing at a couple of Reed's tweets, but I had not heard of Trace. I had never heard of Sean, and obviously I knew Tom. I knew what Tom was about, and I knew Tom was there. So I was aware of what was going on, and I was aware that they were up and coming. And since I've gotten there, we've grown and grown and grown so much, and it's been awesome to be a part of.
Yeah, what was that like when you walk in there and Tom's sitting there? Because
when I'll tell you what.
We had him on. He spoke highly of you. We didn't get it in the show, but he did speak highly of you.
It's a surreal. Thank you, Tom. It's a surreal feeling. It's a surreal feeling when you walk into the room with somebody that you think of, and I don't know how you guys perceive broadcasters, but that's like, it's not to be too, I don't want to bring, religion into it, but it's like the voice of God to me, right? It's like those are the people that I listen to. They're feeding me my information. They're feeding me the stories of these games. And it's being able to be in the same room as him was unbelievable. Be a part of his show, talk to him on air, be a part of his work. It's just something that I'll never probably feel again having that. And I kind of got that feeling at iHeart, but with the way the studios were set up, we didn't, producers weren't in the same room as the talent, right? So we were in different rooms. So, you meet them, but you don't really meet them because I actually met Tom at iHeart, but it was, a handshake, nice to meet you. It was so cool to meet you. And then they go into their room with the talent and the producers alone in his room over here. But being in the same room as Tom was just really, really cool.
Yeah, it was surreal talking to him because we asked him about like his favorite moments and stuff, and then hearing him talk, and then he stops talking, and we're like, oh wait, we're talking to him. We got to ask him the next question.
Yeah.
You've had a podcast before. You had the
Rally
Cat pod. You
right.
ever think about bringing that back?
We have talked about it, and I think our consensus is right now, while I still have a podcast in a show that I like at Chatterbox and Off the Bench, I wanted to wait because I will say this, and I know people, everybody loves the sports talk, and I was talking about it at work the other day. It was like, when you talk for so long, it's hard during the day. It's hard to come home and be like, I want to talk more. It's one of those things where you kind of want to like keep it a little bit separated from what you do it. Now I know other people are different than me and they can do it, but for me, when I turn it off, I'm off. I'm done. I'm all out of juice, and I've used my word limit. I've hit my word limit for the day as it was. But Zach and I think we're going to bring it back eventually. I don't know when. I don't know what capacity, because we did good work there on that podcast. We got to interview some really cool people. We got to interview Jake Fraley when he was a Mariner. What we used to do is, I don't know if you guys honestly should try to do this if you haven't already. We DM every single player that we could find, and whoever responded. Jake Fraley was one where I think I Googled his email and I got a thing from it. I'm like, all right, I'm gonna send him an email. And the title of my email was, Jake, do not read this. Hopefully to give him some sort of an extra what the hell is this? So he opened it, he read it, he gave me his phone number. We had him on the show, and it was incredible. We had Sam LeCure on the show. I know we have him on off the bench. He's hilarious. Sam LeCure came on the podcast. He was driving in the snow from St. Louis, I think, and he did an hour podcast with us. It was absolutely incredible. Corky Miller came on, Art Warren came on, Graham Ashcraft came on. So we had a bunch of guys that just I'm very grateful that we're able to come on. A couple of the media guys came on as well. So it's fun. Doing a podcast, I'll tell you what, it's truly one of the more fun things. And as like the media world has gone that way over the last 5 years, it's made watching and talking about sports so much better, in my opinion.
Yeah, because it's like you talk about it with your buddies, but we can just record it.
Yeah,
that's how we look at it.
Yeah.
Get
to share it with people, and it's awesome.
Did we just break some news that Elliot Reiring kind of facilitated the Jake Fraley trade? Is that what happened?
It's funny because he got traded. He was a Mariner when we reached out to him. He was a Mariner, and I remember seeing a couple of his plays out in the outfield, and I was like, this guy's awesome. Let's have him on. He got traded to the Reds. I'm not joking. A month later, he was a Cincinnati Red, and that was wild. And Graham Ashcraft is kind of the same way. We had Graham Ashcraft on because he was, he was in the minor leagues and he was tearing it up. And we're like, this guy could be good one day. He was a Cincinnati Red a month later, and he came up. He was dominant during the spring. He came up and was a Cincinnati Red. It was like, oh my God, how did we do this? But certainly we did it. It was awesome.
Yeah, for sure. And if Nick Kroll or Brad Meter get fired, I think I know who we're going to put up for baseball operations president.
Anytime they want, baby. They want my expertise.
Yeah. We
don't
touched
forget
on
about us.
Yeah, for sure. We touched on a little bit that your birthday is May 13th, which is 513 Day, which is the area code for Cincinnati, which unofficially or officially makes you, in our opinion, the most Cincinnatian.
I'll take that. I'll take that award.
Yeah. What ways?
It's on the ticker.
Yeah. What ways do you consider yourself like a real diehard Cincinnatian? What kind of aspects of your personality or life?
I think that, and maybe it's because of how I've grown up. When you're a West Sider, and I am a West Side of Cincinnatier, there's just something about going down to the ballpark, watching local teams, and I think that's what Cincinnati's about. It's such a local community. It's not no disrespect to the big cities of New York and you go down the LA and it's like, all right, well it's a massive city. We feel close to one another here. If that's if that's cheesy, I'm sorry, but I went to Elder and I still go to Elder games and you still feel like a part of the community. When you're a Reds fan, you go down to the ballpark, everybody's a part of your team. And I know everybody can do that with any team, but here in Cincinnati, man, it feels different. It feels special walking down in the banks, enjoying opening day. There's no city like this. And to have that is just awesome. So and the way I think most of us support one another, there's how many Reds podcasts are there now? Reds shows, and we all are connected, right? I would say very few cities are like that.
Yeah, West Side.
Are you a 3-way, 4-way, 5-way guy, Coney guy?
Yeah, I was hoping not to bring this up. No. I like Skyline. I don't like Chili.
Yeah.
So what I go to Skyline. If my buddies are like, "Yeah, let's go to Skyline," I'm going to go every time. They changed up their lemonade, which I haven't been upset. But I used to get a pink lemonade. They had pink lemonade there, and then I'd get an order of cheese fries, and that's been my order at Skyline for as long as I've been able to walk. That's just been my order. I get cheese fries, and I get a pink lemonade, and now it's a yellow lemonade, so I don't fault them too much. But I'm not a chili guy. I've never been. I understand why people love it so much. My family's always loved it, but there's something about chili I've always found to be gross.
Yeah, I got a funny story about that. So I'm originally from Northern California.
You're Mr. Gold Star.
Yeah.
Yeah. I moved here when I was little, but like my dad was born and raised Sacramento, California, right? And I wasn't allowed to have it until I was in high school and I could drive because my dad hated it. He's like, "This is not chili." I'm like, "But it is." And I was in high school and one of my buddies like, "Hey, let's go get Skyline." I'm like, "What's Skyline?" He's like, "Dude." And then we go and I was hooked ever since. And it's just I like them all. Camp Washington, Gold Star, it doesn't matter. They're all good.
Oh, it's great. We have a live show at Champions. It's my favorite bar in the city, and they have Empress chili. And it's like there's so many chilies here. It's like that's crazy. And it's to me have me not like it. It's just par for the course. I don't know what it was. Maybe it was my dad's homemade chili that I didn't like. I don't know what it was. I think I'm more of a texture guy. I don't know if you guys are, some people like can't get past the smell. Some people can't get past the feel. A texture for me is everything. I've never been able to get past it.
Yeah, that's fair. I'm more of a graters guy.
Love graters. Love graters.
A chili, I had a phase, but not so much. But yeah,
graters ice cream's the best. And I was having that debate last night at the game. And we're like, when you think of Cincinnati, we think of like La Rosa's Pizza, Skyline Chili, and Grater's ice cream. I think La Rosa's Pizza stinks.
Yeah, I'm not a big fan.
I think it stinks. And to have that be our pizza, I'm like, oh, that's tough. And then you have Skyline, whose the national perception of our chili is that it's gross. But then we have Grater's ice cream, the hidden gem that is Grater's ice cream. That's dynamite.
Yeah, I feel like Grater should get more pub. Like we should be like, if we get 11 strikeouts, everyone should get Graters. You know what I mean?
Yes, yes, that's what it should be. What's crazy about it? I've never cashed in on one of those ever. Last night was free chicken. They scored 8 runs, free chicken. Where am I supposed to get that? I don't care. I have no interest in spending my time to get like one free chicken sandwich. Is that dumb? Maybe. But like the La Rosa's Pizza thing, when I was growing up, it used to be like you get one small, one topping pizza.
Yeah.
And I'm like, but you only have like a day to use it. And I'm like, I'm not going to get La Rosa's. When am I going to go do that? So I always threw those away.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you are this rising star in Cincinnati media. Where do you see yourself in 5 years?
I've thought about that, and to be quite honest, I don't know, because I've done the sports talk thing for several years now, and I like it. I like it, but my goal in life was always to be entertaining. That was my number one goal. So like people say, "Oh, Elliot, your sports takes suck." Like that's okay. I've never had a massive issue with that, because what I've wanted to do never really was sports talk. It was just to talk, and it was to be entertaining. So I don't know what's ahead of me in terms of that. Hopefully it's in front of a camera or in front of a microphone in some capacity. But I don't want to get, just locked into sports talk, because God knows there's only so many ways I can say this one doesn't belong to the Reds. You have to evolve out of that for me, at least if you're in my brain, the way I think about it. So I don't know. I don't know where I am in 5 years. I could see me being out of Cincinnati. It's always going to be my home, but I could see me trying something else, maybe going to a New York and seeing what they got. Maybe try a sketch comedy thing. I would love to do something like that, to be, just get my entertainment fill. I don't know if you guys knew this, but I did plays, I did musicals, growing up, and I loved it. There's not a feeling in the world, there's not a rush that I get from anything else besides performing in front of people. Sports talk it gives me that outlet now. It lets me be silly and be stupid on camera, and hopefully people come back and watch me some more and like it. But in terms of what's ahead of me, I don't know. I truly don't know. I'm Chatterbox kind of came on a whim. I was at iHeart and I was thinking about quitting, and I'm like, do I quit? Do I not quit? And then all of a sudden, my friend Zach's like, yeah, there's this Chatterbox thing. Let's try it. I'm like, okay, let's do it. And a week later, I was at Chatterbox, right? Or 2 weeks later, I guess, I was at Chatterbox. So it's almost like I'm waiting. I'm just waiting to see what the next move is. I don't know if you believe in, the whatever is going to happen. It's planned out for you, but I'm under the belief that whatever God's got for me, I'm just going to follow His lead, and whatever road that is, who knows? I'm going to just keep following it, riding it till the end.
So I gotta ask, have you ever thought about doing Cameo?
Cameo. But I like cameos for celebrities. I'm not a celebrity.
You are the Cincinnati celebrity. I guarantee
No.
you, if you your hot tub video of the Luke Dreamweaver is the greatest video on the internet.
I'll tell you what, if there was an audience for me in a hot tub singing to people for like $25, I will do it. I will absolutely do it. But until that day comes, no chance I get on Cameo. No chance.
Yeah. No, and your stuff at Chatterbox is always good. Do you feel that it's good balance? Because like I kind of said, you're kind of on the radio, but you're kind of not. You kind of get to be, entertaining and talk sports. Is this like a good spot to be in right now for you?
Yeah, certainly is. And I'll always love, these guys because they gave me this chance to do this. And they gave me a platform and they gave me an audience. I got to meet you too because of Chatterbox. I got to meet so many other people because of Chatterbox. And in terms of the creative stuff, yeah, it's allowed me to try just about everything. We got to host a live show at the Memorial. That's something that you don't get to do. I got to do man on the street videos, something you don't really get to do. We took a trip out west, locked in a van together. There's so many things that we got to do that I'll always be appreciative of and I'll always remember so fondly. And as of right now, yeah, I think it's only gotten better from here. Kirby joined the crew and he's been awesome. And to see Jacob come in and he's been awesome. And Casey runs the ship behind the scenes and it's great. It's a great place to work still right now.
Yeah, for sure. And I think that's where Greg said the story was that road trip out west. I didn't know if you wanted to expound.
I don't know what he's talking about. I'm trying to think of what, because I'm not gonna lie, guys, there were a lot of incidents on that trip that were not filmed. So like it was hectic. It's what you expect when you're 24 hours locked together for a week and a half, So we drove across the country in a van with 7 guys in there. Sometimes things are going to get a little crazy. And it's just like, I think at some point we got on each other's nerves in there. And sometimes, there was, they would play pranks on me and it would be like, oh God, I can't do it. So it was, I'll tell you what, it was something that I will never, ever forget in a billion years. I could have, I could die tomorrow and my brain would still be active thinking about that trip because that was insane. Greg, I think Greg joined us halfway through and he was the positive vibes guy. He just sat back at the edge of the bus and just gave us just the most positive vibes you could possibly have.
Any appropriate stories you could tell from that trip, or is it a lot of?
I'm honest to God, I'm trying to remember a few of them, and here's one I'll tell. It was we stopped at a gas station in the middle, and when I say middle of the nowhere, I mean middle of absolutely nowhere. We were driving. I want to say this was through Utah, and like they you talk about like seeing the stars and stuff. You could see the sky in a way that at least I have never seen in my entire. It was like looking through one of those. What's it called when you get? It's not a telescope, but what's the big space room where you can look at the stars? What's that called? Anybody got that one?
Yes, Astro something.
It's something. It's something.
Yeah.
It's not. It's something. Planetarium. Is that what it's called?
That's
no,
it.
Planetarium.
Yeah.
Is that it? I don't know what it's
yeah.
called. I don't think we're right. Somebody's got to Google it. But whatever it's called, it was like looking at the world through that, and It was like unbelievable. So we stopped for gas. Nobody within like in 100-mile radius. We've been driving. It was dark out. 100 miles this way, 100 miles that way. Nobody was near us. We get out, and all of a sudden, this dog walks by, and we get out of the van. And we're like, this dog's awesome. And I start thinking, I mean, this thing could have rabies. We're out in the middle of the desert. Who knows where this thing's been? And our guy Jeremiah, he got out and started petting the thing. He immediately gets sick a day later. And he got me sick, and he got all of us sick from touching this dog. We were debating at the time bringing the dog with us. It'll be the Chatterbox dog. But thank God we didn't do that, because it would have probably infested the entire van, and we would have all gotten sick. But I would say, like, there were 7 guys or 6 guys, 5 of us got sick because of that dog.
Yeah, it feels like there's a reason why you guys didn't do that this year.
Yeah. I there was certainly a reason. There was certainly a reason. I think if you were to do it again, you would fly out and then just go to the spring training. The rest of the stuff was awesome, but it was almost like getting trapped in the van and being tired of that stupid van. After a while, it was crazy. And by the way, I don't know if you guys knew this. We drove, Trace and I, everybody else got to fly home. Trace, and obviously somebody had to bring home the van. Trace and I drove that van home 26 straight hours. We did not sleep. 26 hours. We did the 4 hours on, 4 hours off method. And that's how we got home from Arizona, from Phoenix, Arizona almost, to Cincinnati, Ohio. 26 straight hours in that car. Did not waver. It was honestly, it was one of the more impressive performances of any human being ever between me and Trace taking that thing up. Trace kind of carried us at the end. My eyes were gone. I was exhausted. But it was crazy, man.
Yeah. So, I guess speaking of Trace, like how is Trace? He had the moment where I was on the Chatterbox Reds opening day show and he rudely interrupted you.
When I was asking good questions. I was asking
a
a
good question.
He's good. He's a great boss. And he does a great job with Chatterbox Reds. He's the kind of Elliot on that one, because Nick has to be Mr. Positive, and Trace is the one that kind of when things go wrong. And I think it's important. I think it's important to have a balance on shows, on all shows. It can't just be the same opinion every time. It's got to be a little bit different. And I think Trace has done a great job with that.
Yeah, I've had brief interactions with him, just doing the pregame show and stuff. Like I don't get to see him a whole lot. I deal with Nick more than I do Trace, but
yeah,
I was like, I was going to get to your question, and he's like, Elliot, come on.
That was a good question too. It's a shame that I was interrupted.
Yeah, it threw me off my game too. I was prepared up until that point.
Yeah. All right. Pivoting now to the 2025 Red Legs and your thoughts. Elliot, is the season over?
No, guys, the season isn't over. Okay. It'll be over at some point, but it's not over yet. Okay. It's not over yet. Right now, the vibes are high. We got a game. What time is it? 7 minutes now. I think the Reds truly, if they're going to get hot, it has to be now. It has to be against this next. I would say these next 5 series. You have to take advantage. You have to take advantage of an easy schedule, and I'm hoping the Reds are able to do that. But this schedule is going to get brutal here in about a month and a half, maybe a little bit less than a month and a half. So you have to take a winning record. I'm not saying they got to be 20 games over, but if you're 10 games over 500 heading into the gauntlet, that is the middle of May, the end of May, then I think we got a shot here to make at least not necessarily a World Series run. I don't think anybody expects a World Series out of this team, but I think if you're able to, be in contention for as long as possible, that's the goal. And I think this team, with how good the pitching staff has been, they're going to be competitive for a long time.
Yeah, for sure. And the one thing that kind of still hangs over them that I feel it's really annoying and kind of just same, we've seen these movies, is against the series against the Brewers, like just getting over that hump of beating in division teams, just getting to a point where they establish himself. I guess I haven't seen it yet. That's why I'm so like kind of with you on that, where it's like it's not over yet, but they still got kind of a long way to go.
It's been weird though, because they've taken the Cubs to school for the past few years. The Cubs have been arguably the better team in this division outside of the Brewers, but they've been able to take care of the Cubs. They've been able to take care of the Cardinals. It's just been the Pirates and the Brewers. They can't beat the Milwaukee Brewers. It doesn't matter who they've got out there. It doesn't matter where that game is played. The Reds are going to lose to the Brewers. and there's no reason behind it. They're just a frustrating. Excuse me. They're just a frustrating franchise to play because they've done everything right except for get over that hump of winning a World Series. They've been close. They've been to a CS. And I don't know what it is for them. I don't know what that answer is. It feels like their window is closing, not closed yet, but closing. And maybe this is the year the Reds are able to do it. But then I look at how they performed in Milwaukee, and it's like, what went on there? What went on there? I know the offense is a problem, but they look completely different when they play the Brewers than they do against anybody else. And it's so strange to me. They took care of the Pirates. They swept the Pirates for the first time in 3 years. So that's something that we can build off of. But I've never understood the Brewers thing. I've never thought that the Brewers had some, earth-shattering lineup or earth-shattering pitching staff. They've been good. They've been solid. They don't make a ton of mistakes. They do everything right. But it's like, I've never been scared of the Milwaukee Brewers, and the Reds just can't do it.
Yeah, it feels like the Brewers haven't really had that crazy lineup since like Ryan Braun and Prince Fielder back in the day. Like that's like the last time I remember them having like dominant players.
Yeah, and they lose Willy Adames this year too. It's like you're going to lose your best offensive player, and they still come back swinging.
And their closer.
And their closer. So two closers. They've lost Devin and old Longhair and Josh Hader. They've lost so many guys that Brandon Woodruff hasn't been healthy. They lose Corbin Burns, and it feels like they're not completely there, but at the same time they're a mile ahead of the Cincinnati Reds.
Yeah.
So I guess go ahead.
I joked earlier. I just want one quick follow up. I joked earlier about having the 2025 Pirates season being over. Is the Pirates season over, Elliot?
I'm going to tell you this right now, and this is a little secret. The Pirates 2025 season's over. The 2026 season is over. The 2027 season is over, and it's going to be over until I don't know if they either get rid of the franchise, get new ownership. They're a monstrosity to the sport. They're a joke. Like whatever you think about the Cincinnati Reds and the ownership and Nick Krall and who's the manager and who's on the team, the Pirates aren't even remotely close. They have Paul Skeens and a bunch of nothing. That's what they have there. And the fact that I don't know if you guys saw this, it kind of went viral today, but Jeff Passan was talking to, I think, Chris Rose. Yes. And Passan's like, this is utter disrespect. It's disrespect to the game. It's disrespect to the city of Pittsburgh. It's disrespect to the players. It's disrespect to the fans. The way they run that franchise, it's like and I'm trying to think of a comparison right now. It's like if I won like $25 on a scratch off, and it's like, are you going to save any of it? Yeah, sure. I'll put like 24 of it away and I'll spend the other $1. Like, that's not fun. Nobody wants to live like that. And that's how they operate. They operate cheap. They don't make any, they make money and they don't spend any of it. I think their tickets are a joke. I don't think anyone in Pittsburgh goes to those games anymore. They've lost the fan base. And for what? At what cost? Like Paul Skeens pitches once every 5 days. That's not winning you games. I hate this. Like I love where the Reds are at pitching staff wise, but I love it because they've got legitimately 5 to 6 guys right now that I'm confident in are going to give the Reds a chance. The Pirates have maybe 2 guys if you count Jared Jones, and that's 2 times in 5 days. You're not winning games. You're not winning series that way, and it's a real shame because if you've seen that lineup, that lineup's a joke.
Yeah, old man McCutcheon's still doing it somehow.
They don't spend money. I've never seen. I don't like people get on the Reds for not spending money. The Pirates don't even play the same sport as everybody else. They're in truly a league of their own. The only thing that they have, unfortunately, on us, and it's what Reed makes the joke about me every day for. It's they beat us in 2013. They've got that one thing over the Reds. But other than that, the Reds are a much better, well-run organization than them.
Yeah, like the Reds spend money just on the wrong guys. That's the real problem. We haven't signed a legit free agent. Castellanos is the only one that's worked out in this this century.
It's crazy.
It's sad.
It is. It's a shame.
Yeah. So I guess one last question before we get you out of here is kind of talking about this season. What excites you the most? Like I guess just say other than pitching.
Okay.
Like we could do like potential on people and like what concerns you the most as well.
So I'll start with what concerns me, and that's the lineup. I think the lineup is it's bad. It's bad. It's not what I know. I'm sure you guys are a little bit more optimistic than I am, but the lineup was bad last year, and we come into this year, they're still hurt. They haven't really improved it. I love Austin Hayes. I love Gavin Lux. They're great guys. Those two guys can't fix an entire lineup, nor should they have to. They're still banged up. Spencer Steer's hurt. CES is playing hurt. You have Jamir Candelario, who might be one of the world's worst baseball players. I don't get it. So that's what concerns me. Are they going to be able to spend? Are they going to be able to score runs at a high enough clip to where the pitching staff can give you, shutout performances, and you're able to score one run? That's what I'm asking for, is a couple runs here. I'm not asking for 10 runs. I'm not asking to lead the league in home runs. I'm just asking to get on base a little bit more. They ranked dead last in on base percentage. At least they did up until yesterday. So that's got to be fixed. As for what I'm excited about, and this is a good way to kind of segue off that, as what I'm excited about. I'm excited if I can't bring in the pitching, I'm excited to see the growth of Matt McClain, and I think if you're able to see that this year, I really do count this season as a win. I know there's no moral victories, but Matt McClain being able to prove that he is going to be an Ellie De La Cruz type of superstar, a generational talent that not every team gets to have. If he proves that to me, I'm going to walk away from this season happier than I was coming into this past year. So, coming into last year. I think that's what I'm looking for. I'm looking for the young guys to continue to develop. I'm hoping CES shows up. I'm hoping that's the case. I'm hoping I'm wrong about CES, but boy, it's been a struggle to watch CES take at bats lately. Noelvi Marte obviously is not going to be a part of this team too much, but hopefully he can continue to develop down low in AAA. I'm hoping Will Benson can continue that development down in AAA, and just watching the guys that we have continue to grow, because that's the only way we're winning games. It's very evident to me that the front office is not going to spend $25 million on a free agent bat. Because if they were going to do it, they would have done it this past offseason. They had that opportunity. They didn't do that, and they're going to ride with the guys we have. I'm hoping the guys that we have are those generational type of talents that we can watch going forward, and hopefully give the Reds at least a fighting chance with Terry Francona in this division, which, by the way, they have to take advantage of this division. I don't know. It might not be this year. It seems like it's going to be the Cubs' year. They have to take advantage of this division next year, because the Cardinals are going down. The Pirates are forever down. The Brewers, that dynasty is coming to a close. This is the window that the Reds have. There's never been a window like this in the past 10 years. There hasn't been a window like this, and you have to take advantage of it. It's as close to that 2012 feeling as you're going to get, and I'm hoping next year, too, you're going to be able to spend. But as for this season alone, pitching staff's incredible. They're going to keep fighting. If the offense can just give me just a little bit more than they're giving me now, just a little bit, then we're going to be okay here. We're going to be able to take advantage of these next few series, and you're going to be able to hopefully get to the All-Star break hovering around 2.5 games of a wild card spot. Maybe, who knows? Maybe they take a lead in this division. The Cubs, it would be hard for me to say that right now based on how good the Cubs are offensively, but I'll tell you right now that I could potentially see the Reds making a stand at this division if they're able to win all those Cubs games. Not all of them, but a good majority of them.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I guess the final question, make it, I guess, kind of quickish, but will the Reds win in your lifetime?
Will the Reds win in my lifetime?
I don't know.
Boy, I would hate to end this on a negative.
I didn't say what they would win. Division, playoff game.
They'll win a division. They'll win a division, and they'll win a playoff series in my lifetime.
Will they
here's my thing, and we were having this debate. The Reds winning a World Series, it feels so like it's almost it would be like an earth-shattering type of celebration, because you in your mind, you guys can't, like, we're fans and we're silly fans, and we watch the Reds and we cheer for them, and of course the end goal is a championship. But do you guys, like, can you imagine right now? Can you envision it? A Reds hoisting up that World Series trophy, winning a Game 7 at Grand. Like, for me, it's so hard to envision it just because of how far baseball has gone towards the Dodgers' way of spending and the Yankees' way of spending. And I'm hoping that, that the lockout that's going to happen in a couple years, hopefully that fixes it a little bit. But it's hard for me to see a little guy like the Kansas City Royals do it again. It's very difficult for me to picture that. But I'm gonna be optimistic. I'm gonna say I'm gonna get one at some point. If I live to be 80 years old, I'm gonna say I will see one World Series championship in my lifetime.
You heard it here first. World Series win 2079.
That's right, 2079. 2079 on my deathbed.
Oh, man. Anything you got, Rick? Anything else?
No, just really appreciate you coming on.
No, loved it. Anytime you guys want me on, I'll come on. I love the show. Love you guys. And by the way, I miss seeing you guys in the chat every day. You guys were the key members of the Off the Bench chat. And whenever I get to see you guys flash up in there every once in a while, I get little goosebumps in me because you guys were the fans that started this thing.
Yeah, I try to pop in when I can. My hours at work are just.
I know they're listen, 10 to 12 it's the working man's hour, so it's hard to get in that chat. But I'm just telling you right now, I love seeing you guys in there. So thank you very much for everything that you guys have done, and continue to good luck or good work with the Chatterbox pregame, Rick, and everybody else. So hopefully you guys keep crushing it. And anytime you want me on, call me.
Yeah, well, we'll do. I appreciate it, and we'll have to head down to Chandler's sometime and get some wings.
Anytime you want to go to Chandler's, you hit me up. Chandler's is my favorite thing ever. I love Chandler's.
I love it.
I love Chandler's.
No
you
free
go
ads,
to the one in Harrison?
Yeah. I work right down the road from there.
That's so crazy because I'm so used to the one in Delhi being my go-to Chandler's, but that Harrison one's good too. The Harrison Chandler is great. So anytime you guys want, maybe a post-round Robin's Nest golf event, I'll be there and I'll see you there.
All right.
Thanks
Elliot
again.
Reiring.
Yeah, appreciate it.
Thanks, guys, for having me on.
Go
Thanks.
Reds.
We're the Reds. Red hot.